Obama would like nothing more than a shutdown. He would welcome that. He's in the tank, and that's one of his few ways of getting his base energized.
I agree with you.
Your comments.
I agree with that assessment. I thought that you and I sparred on this, Tom, previously, and I thought that was bad move, the previous short-term shutdown. I think they did it for the wrong reasons, and strategically I thought it was at the wrong time, and I don't think that they got anything out of it. I think that it caused a lot of harm, and apparently there was only short-term harm, but I think it did not help the cause at the time.
Oh, I disagree with you. I think it did help the cause. That they got the election results they did show that it didn't do any harm. And it made Senator Cruz somebody that the Democrats really fear. So do some Republicans. Because, if Republicans elect a president, Democrats are starting to worry. What if the Republicans use their veto pen? What if the Republicans use the executive orders to undo Obama's regulations and Obamacare and everything? I think it put backbone in the Republicans. I agree, though. It's a good debate, as you say, whether it was helpful or not. But it elevated the schisms in the Republican Party, certainly.
Yeah, you make some really good points there, and especially when you look at the election results, it's hard to argue with what you just said because it obviously wasn't long-term harm. The voters didn't hold it against him when they came out in November, that's for sure. But
the Republican establishment does fear and dislike Ted Cruz, so that adds fuel to your side too. So we'll watch how it plays out.
I have nothing kind to say about the Republican establishment. Let's put it that way. I've been extraordinarily disappointed in the Republican strategy, and I'm also split on this issue of the shutdown because I remember back in the days of Bill Clinton, and that shutdown
with Newt Gingrich
is often pointed to by people as all of the horrible things that happened because of that shutdown. And I look at the positives that came out of it. You had some serious negotiations finally take place on some very important issues, and some very strong advancements were made that led to a balanced budget for the country for quite a few years there before things fell apart again for a variety of reasons.
Right.
And they weren't all the Democrats' fault either on that. I'll point to, in that case, the establishment Republicans get a lot of the blame for that one as well, as things, 9/11 contributed to that as well. But, part of me is kind of in your camp saying, I look at sequester, and everybody brings up, look at the sequester, the harm that sequester has done. I keep going, oh, really? Mm-hmm. You got to look pretty hard, don't you? I mean, I'm sure you could find cases where you could argue that holding the line in some of these areas has caused significant harm, but as far as the nation as a whole, I don't think it's been a complete disaster. And I think they've restored a lot of those cuts.
It isn't really an honest damage thing. It's that I think the public has been, the short-minded public has been sold a bill of goods these days that a shutdown is evil and it's obviously Republicans' fault. I mean, they just start from that position. Now, I think the hatred of Obamacare overwhelmed the memory of the shutdown that kind of came and went with no real problems. That, financial brinksmanship is not new. I mean, what was it, World War I? The Navy was sent out with only funds enough to get out there or go around the world. They didn't have enough funds to come back, and the president knew that, they'll have to, they have to bring them back. So they're going to approve funds to bring them home. So that's an example that came and went, and nobody really squawked about it. But I think it's just there's been a great sales job on shutdowns and how evil they are, and obviously it's some wicked people that are doing it, so on and so forth, where the reality is pretty much what you just said. It's what causes serious compromise.
It does, and the Constitution and the brilliant people that wrote the checks and balance system to stop excesses from any branch of government, that gives the Congress, the House, the power of the purse.
Right.
It's there for them to use.
Now there you go. You're just sounding like a radical again, Ostrom.
Well, Don's fault. He got me. You and Don get me thinking.
You keep citing that U.S. Constitution during this show, and you're going to be labeled a radical for the rest of your life.
There's some goofy progressive schools that won't let students stand on the corner and hand out the Constitution. Boy, that's education.
That's subversive literature.